Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be playing the game Frozen Flame, and we're going to be talking about this vendor here. And if I go to talk to this vendor, just hit E. I believe his name is Shu, CU, and he's asking me to bring him an energy potion. But if you hold the E command down, it brings me into the trade window. Now the key to this vendor is you're going to need the water vessel, or you're going to need the water, or what we call the water skin. And how you create the water vessel or the water skin is you're going to be going to the bone workbench that you've created. Let me cancel out of here, hit tab and do craft. This table here, the stone workbench. You go to stone workbench, it's an option to create one. I believe you need one fiber and one nibbler leather to create one water vessel. I believe that's what it takes. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the gist of it. But once you've created the water vessel, then what you need to do is you need to fill it with water. And you only can fill them at the fountains. So there's a fountain. I'm at this vendor here. I'll talk about this location in a minute, but you will need to go to fill the water vessel or the water skin at fountains. And we actually put a portal or a teleporter next to a fountain for us to have easy access to it. So once you get a few water skins made, and you get the other components you need. So what we want to do is we want to talk to him again, or talk to the lizard again. And in this situation, or this selection, the salt, you need to make beetle broth. And I believe it's the beetles that you find at the base of the trees. And then it's one beetle per one water vessel. And then you cook them together in the stove, because you need to do it at the stove, not the campfire, because there's two components here. You got the water vessel, water skin, you got to put in slot 1, and then you got to put the beetle in slot 2. You cook it, then you've got the broth. So you'll need to do that per broth you make. You need a full water skin per broth to do it, and a beetle. If you want to do the bones. Now, bones are pretty plentiful in the world. I don't know if you wanted to go through the effort of doing this swap, because I have hundreds and hundreds of bones. And I seem to like everything I kill drops a bone. Every humanoid in most of the areas tend to drop a bone. But if you need bones, this is the way to do it. You need one fish that you catch. You got to catch a fish. And that's like, if you see the fish in the water, you got to run to it real quick and hit the E command and get the fish. And you're going to need one water vessel. Again, you cook it in the stove, and it produces one fish soup, which you bring to this vendor. And this is a 1-to-1 kind of thing. So for every one soup you bring, you're going to get 5 bones. For every one beetle broth you bring, you're going to get 5 salt. Now, the large boar hide, I used to do a lot of trading for the large boar hide, but now that I've got a good weapon, I know where all the large boars are. I can really farm them real quick. It doesn't take me that much time. But in this case, healthy chowder. Now, if I remember correctly, now I've got a guide here in front of me. I think the hearty chowder, yeah, it's raw pig meat or boar meat. You want the raw pig meat, and you want to do it with a water vessel. I might actually have one of those in my inventory. Yeah, right here. This is what you need. You need the raw boar meat. You need one of those in one water vessel, one water skin, to cook it in the stove. And then for each one of those, they're going to give you the large boar hide. And then for the nibbler leather, now this was pretty important, and granted, there is a vendor to get this. There's couple ways of getting nibbler leather. I consider nibbler leather right now a very valuable asset. So I view it with reverence, because it's used for a lot of things in this game. So this is definitely going to be worth your trouble if you really need nibbler leather, ASAP. And I believe this is just a mushroom. It's a noble mushroom in a water vessel cooked in the stove, and then it's going to produce one mushroom chowder. So that's really that's the exchange right here. And it just comes down to how easy it's going to be for you playing the game, how many water vessels you need to make, and then you need to definitely fill them up So, I think another option could be is when you're dealing with something like this, where you put a teleporter next to the fountain, it might not be bad to create a little shop here with a couple stoves in it. This way you can just run back and forth filling your water skins up or your water vessels up. And at least you have that component. And then going into the other components is pretty easy. That's just, questing in the world, getting the boar meat, the beetle, the mushrooms, the fish. I mean, those would be the easy part. The hardest part to this is just schlepping the water around, because I believe once you use the water vessel, you can just use it again. You just fill it again. I don't think that gets removed from your inventory. I believe you use the water that's in it, but I don't believe you use the water skin. You don't destroy the water skin. You just continue filling it up. But if you want to cook multiple meals at the same time, then you're going to have multiple water skins with you, and you'll need to get the water source figured out on how to fill those. You just can't fill them at a stream. So here we are on this island here with this vendor, and yes, I got an X here. Unfortunately, the server refreshed or restarted while I was in mid-air, and when I came back, I was dead, and unfortunately, I can't find my experience anywhere. So it's just telling me I died there. Yes, I know I died there, but I can't retrieve my experience for some reason, so it is what it is. So yeah, this is the vendor if you want to take a look at him. And globally, if you want to know where he is globally, you start the world here. When you start in the world, you start here. And then you'll get flight. Once you defeat the boss, or the world boss for this region, you'll go through a portal, you'll beat the boss, you'll talk to somebody that's in there, and they're going to send you to this location. And then this NPC is going to give you a few tasks, quests, and then you're going to end up getting the ability to fly. And once you get the ability to fly, then you can fly down to this vendor. So if you're looking for Nibbler armor, or leather, I keep on saying armor and I mean leather. When you're looking for Nibbler leather, there's going to be a couple ways you can go about doing it once you get flight. And or you can do it before you get flight, because before you get flight, there are nibblers here on this island, and there's nibblers over here. There's 3 nibblers over here, and there's 2 nibblers over here. So if you never get flight, then those are your ability. You can still get nibbler leather from the pre-flight mechanic, if that's what you choose to do. And some people do, and because they have problems flying or whatever reason. So nibbler leather becomes very precious to them, because they've got 5 nibblers that they can kill, wait for them to respawn, and then kill them again. Whereas there's nibblers throughout most of these, many of these islands have them on them. But the quick way, if you're into cooking, if you're into schlepping the water around, would be to use the vendor that's on this island that I am standing on. And, what I like about the game is the game gives you options on how to get items that, you can do a trade swap like with this guy, or you could go and grind it yourself by killing the mobs necessary that drop the items. You know what I mean? So just to recap, so you hold the E down, and I believe these are the 2 that are going to be very precious to you. These 2 items here. Again, I find that ancient bones, if you kill a lot of creatures, you'll have them, and you'll have quite a bit of them. And then the salt, I found that in a couple of locations already, but again, you can swap for it here. And then the nibbler leather, and then the large boar hide, because the large boar hide is used to make armor sets. So that's definitely going to be needed for you. And again, the nibbler leather is also used to make the higher tier sets, because you run it through a tanning rack, which gives you this icon. I'm going to call it the tier 2 component, where the nibbler leather is a tier 1 component. You make it into the tier 2 component, which then will allow you to make other armors that are higher tier. So this is the vendor here, and really that's all you really need to know about it. It's really getting those water skins in order, filling them up, and then adding the component. And if you want to do it efficiently, you're probably going to want to run a few stoves, and obviously those stoves are fueled by logs, so you'll need to get logs. So that's really it in a nutshell. I hope this video helps you. Thank you for joining. This has been the Tarkus Zone.